Welcome back to Fickle Sports and welcome back to Premier League predictions and a final welcome back to my old falling apart headphones because I forgot to charge my headphones and Apple are a piece of shit and apparently even if you have wired headphones you still need to charge them.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's probably got the bookies telling him what predictions to make because he's dog shit at making predictions, as we know.
2 months in a row, keep quiet. Let's move on from how bad I am at predictions. Gary?
Yeah, thank you to all our old and new subscribers. We really do appreciate it. Keep bringing those predictions in. Keep bringing that abuse in the comments because we know we can be pretty bad at some of these predictions. And we're thinking about expanding and doing another video, and we really want your guys' opinions on what you think should be in our next video, so let us know. Now on to the score table. It's up on the screen right now, and Night Girl 14 has won this week with a score of 6, which is it's pretty damn high for a normal game week and a shortened game week. 3 perfect scores. Now that is impressive, now putting us all to shame currently, and I think we need to create potentially a table of how many wins people have had throughout the week. Is that too much? Is that like Inception of score tables?
I think that's something we should have a look into. But Gary, what about our scores? You think because you're off ill that I'm not going to be taking these 3 hits? It's 10-0 to me. 10-0. If anything, I should have more points because you should get -3 because you abandoned the match. But it's 10-0 to me. I don't care.
I feel like my 0 is a respectable score, but your 10 is far below. if I feel like you lost, even though despite me not playing.
I don't care. 10-0. I'm taking it. Let's move on. Now, this is a little disclaimer, guys, so please make sure you listen to this bit before we get into any predictions. We are recording this before any games have been played in this game week, so we're not actually sure what happened in the last game week, so we're not going to go through the last game. We're just going to chat about the game itself a little bit. So, that's a disclaimer. You guys are ready.
First up is West Ham United versus West Bromwich Albion. Big Sam returns against his former club, although he has many former clubs, unfortunately. West Ham, in my wacky world of predictions, I predicted a 1-1 draw. So I'm saying that they're coming out desperate for a win to correct the previous game. But I think it will be quite a difficult game against Sam Allardyce's team. I feel with every passing game, he's probably slowly molding his team into that, chip it up to the centre forward or get down the byline, get good crosses and cutbacks, and being really stubborn in defence. So this is going to be a tricky game for West Ham, in my opinion.
Yeah, you kind of nicked what I was going to say about West Brom there with Big Sam making his triumphant return to the London Stadium. I wonder how he'd be received by the West Ham fans. If there's any West Ham fans watching this, get involved and let us know what you think about that. For West Brom, and you also nicked my little bit where I was going to say Big Sam is slowly moulding his team into his style of play. His fantastic style of football.
Very effective style.
Look, we said it in the last video, you can say what you want about Big Sam, but it works. He gets the job done. You can't criticise his results. But I don't think he's there yet, because if you remember, he got that draw against Liverpool, which was an absolutely fantastic result. But then since then, I think they lost an aggregate of 9-0 against Arsenal and Leeds. So let's see what happens with the Wolves game. Let's see what happens there. See if Big Sam can get his first big win. But West Ham, especially this season, that'll be a tough nut to crack, I think. I think it'll be a really tough game for them.
Score prediction then for this one?
I'm going 1-0 West Ham.
I think West Ham are going to sneak it. I think they're going to win 2-1.
Next up is Leicester versus Chelsea, and it's taking place at 8:15. Now for Leicester, they've been on some good form recently, and they'll be hoping to continue that. Firstly against Southampton, so we're keeping an eye out, see if they can do that. But Southampton is a tough nut to crack. But Chelsea, they're an even tougher nut to crack. And the thing is, I think Leicester, they would probably be more confident if they were away from home, but they're not. They're at home. but their form has picked up a little bit at home recently. So I wouldn't say it's all doom and gloom, but they'll be hoping that they can certainly continue that form, as I say, into the Southampton game and then hopefully into the Chelsea game as well. Because I think at the moment, Leicester are looking stronger than Chelsea. I'd say Leicester are favourites for me.
Yeah, and it's kind of a scrap between those two because they're in and around amongst each other in the table. I feel like Leicester, they are on form. Chelsea are up and down, mostly down in a couple of weeks. But I think this will be the game of the second part of the week. I think there's going to be loads of goals in this one.
I think as well, a lot will depend on, because my fantasy Premier League app is telling me that Vardy is a bit of a doubt for the Southampton game, and so it's will he play in that one or the Chelsea game or either of them. So a lot will depend on that.
Now for Chelsea, I predicted them to win 2-1 against Fulham, so I'm saying they are back to form Premier League-wise after a rough couple of weeks. And I think that should hopefully be a really important win. And, Leicester is a massive game for them. I think they really want to re-cement their status as a Champions League club with possible dark horse title aspirations, and you got to do it against a team like Leicester, who are a very dangerous team, very very dangerous team. I think if Chelsea win this, they it's a bit of a statement, bringing back towards the top.
Yeah, I think the criticism of Chelsea is they haven't done too well with the teams at the upper end of the table. So it's now another test for them to see if they can get that win. And it's another return, of course. We mentioned the last one, but obviously Brendan Rodgers returning to Chelsea. What's your prediction for this one?
I actually think it's going to be quite a crazy game. I'm going 3-2 Chelsea. Kind of wild.
Ooh.
Kind of wild.
I'm taking your one and I'm swapping it round and I'm going 3-2 Leicester.
Oh, of course you are. How unoriginal.
What? What's your fucking problem?
Next up is Man City versus Aston Villa. And Man City, I predicted them to win 2-0 against Crystal Palace, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, that Kevin De Bruyne has probably got a I can't get a hat trick if I predicted 2-0, but hopefully he got 2 goals or 2 assists because he's my captain, but he's probably missed a penalty or something ridiculous like that. Man City, it's a case of stay quiet. The run of the last couple of games haven't been too tough. They've had a really, really good run of form, and everyone really thought, okay, Man City would be the closest competitor to Liverpool for this Premier League, but everyone I sort of saw gave the Premier League to Liverpool straight away. And if they can continue this form, they could really hit Liverpool whilst they're weak, because Liverpool could lose against Man United, and Man City can lead the charge. I think most people think that Man United are probably punching a little bit over their weight, so this is their opportunity just to continue.
For Aston Villa, I don't know. They haven't played in 2 weeks. I don't know what you want me to say. I have no idea how the Rona is going to affect them. We have cases where some players have got the Rona and they've come straight back in and their fitness hasn't been affected at all. Whereas we've had other players who've actually been quite severely affected by Corona, and it's actually had an impact on their fitness. And so it's a question of what's the impact of Corona on the Aston Villa players, and what about not playing games? There could be a bit of rustiness, or could they be refreshed for the Man City game? So, Aston Villa this season have been one of the best away teams. They have been absolutely brilliant, but I think a lot of this game is going to depend on what the impact is on, first of all, the extended break and Corona to their players. So it's a really difficult one to predict, because you have to just eyeball how you think it's going to impact the players. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Answer. I think the difficulty I see for Aston Villa is game rust is a potential, and you're coming back against a team that you might not see the ball for very long. So in those pockets where you win the ball back, is that the same Aston Villa that we've seen, just counter-attacking, and for that to happen, to be really effective, the chemistry has to be perfect. So the chemistry and the speed of pass and everything kind of has to come together. So I'm hoping that the game rust doesn't impact them too much. But score prediction, what have you got for this one?
I'm quietly siding with, I think there might be a little bit of like kind of rust. And it's always, you always have to run a lot against City. They've got the ball so much. If you're going to try and press them, it's an absolutely exhausting job. I'm going with 1-0 City.
Okay. I'm going with 2-1 City, actually. I think there'll be a bit of a fight, but they might nick it.
So, next game, we're at Craven Cottage for Fulham versus Manchester United, taking place at 8:15. Now, Fulham, their last few games, I know it looks like an absolute draw fest. Well, it is a draw fest. It's draw after draw after draw after draw. You see where I'm going with that. But I think if you've actually been watching the games, they've actually been playing quite well. And I think the thing we've been saying for the last few weeks is they need to turn these good performances into wins. It was another good performance against Tottenham. The issue they've got is the Premier League gods really don't like them because they've got Tottenham, which we saw was the 1-1 in which they played well. Chelsea and then Manchester United. That is a horrible, horrible fixture list. Now, the question is, can they keep up those high performances against that high caliber level of opposition? I think Chelsea will be a struggle, and I think Manchester United will also be a real big struggle. But let's see what Scott Parker can do. As I say, the performances have been good, and he might be able to just nick a point or maybe even more in a few of these games.
Yeah, I think just with the mentality, you should just be like, just don't expect anything. Give it your best, and if you nick points, that's a bonus.
They did it against Tottenham. Why not against Chelsea or Manchester United?
For Man United, I predicted a 2-2 draw with Liverpool, so you guys should still be top of the league at this current point. And what I say is, hopefully that will be an excellent result, and you just got to keep going. There's people are doubting Man United's credentials, right? So the best way to deal with that is shove it right back in their face and continue to get results. And Fulham is just as important as Liverpool. I feel like if you want to continue the momentum, you got to get this win against Fulham. Fulham have been playing quite well, but they have a lot of weaknesses. They concede goals still, so Man United really have to be clinical. They must continue to be clinical here.
I think Manchester United, I think the thing is even if they lose against Liverpool and then maybe even don't get a result against Fulham, this season has been so inconsistent, it wouldn't be the end of their season. Do you know what I mean? It will not be the end of it. So I think let's see where they are at the end of these two games.
Score prediction.
Do you know what? I know I didn't predict a Manchester United win, but I feel like now it's been like a day and it's let it mull. I feel like they're going to get a result against Liverpool. I won't change the prediction, don't worry. But I feel like they're going to draw against Fulham. I don't know why. I just got it in my head. So I'm going 1-1.
Okay. Sometimes that does happen. You just, you're on a down randomly after celebrating, probably having too many Bacardis.
Bacardi doesn't play for Manchester United.
That's true. That is true. Maguire's been leading the charge, learning from Vardy. I'm going 3-1 Man United here.
So we move over into Thursday and what we thought would be the last game of the game week, but it's not. But it's Liverpool versus Burnley taking place at Anfield at 8 p.m. Now for Liverpool, their form, it hasn't been great recently, and it's something that we've come to not expect from Liverpool. They really have been struggling recently to get wins. Obviously, they lost their last game against Southampton, and they drew their previous two. And I come back to my theory. I said this a few weeks ago, but I'm sure this is the theory. Their bad form started ever since their 7-0 demolishing of Crystal Palace, and I think they've wasted all their brilliant finishes in that game. If they had just saved them up and used them throughout the next few games, they would have won every single one. But no, they used them all up in that one game. And it's a bit of an indicator, this game, of where we think the title might go. Now, I do think Liverpool are favourites for the Manchester United game. But as I said for Manchester United, if they do lose this one, I don't think it's the be-all and end-all. But if they do lose this one, they will need to get a result against Burnley.
For Burnley, I predicted them to draw against West Ham 1-1. And I think, 17th place is a bit of a scary place to be. I just really think Burnley just need to keep scrapping away and getting points. They were in the bottom three for a while because they just couldn't get goals, they couldn't get wins, and I feel like, yeah, Liverpool are going to be. It's going to be a real big test against Liverpool. I feel like I predicted Liverpool to draw against Man United, so I feel like Liverpool will be very hungry to correct their form, and they might go heavy against Burnley. And that's what I'm kind of concerned with. But you know, Burnley have hope. You know, they are very stubborn, and you know, if they set out Sean Dyche's game plan, they can nick a point against Liverpool, who aren't, as Alex said, looking like themselves.
I think it was worth adding that in the last few game weeks, Burnley certainly have picked up performance-wise. What's your prediction for this one?
I still think Liverpool are going to win this. Only just though, because I don't have that much faith in Liverpool at the moment, so I'm going 2-1.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I keep on expecting this Liverpool reaction after dropping points, and it just hasn't happened yet. So I'm going for a 1-0. I'm going for a 1-0 Liverpool scrape as well.
Next up is Aston Villa versus Newcastle, and for Aston Villa, I predicted a hard-fought loss to Man City away at the Etihad. But this is the game where I feel like Aston Villa will get back on track. You know, the Man City game, maybe not too many conclusions can come from it. I hope they win, but I feel against Newcastle team who's kind of been limping around, I think Aston Villa can, you know, get back to their ways of really being too quick for a lot of these teams. You know, Grealish, Barkley, and Ollie Watkins, they need to essentially relight the fire between those three and get back on track. And I think this is the game to do it.
You just quote take that.
Who doesn't quote take that?
Okay, we'll let that one slide. For Newcastle, they've been in a bit of a shit run, certainly for the last 4 games. And you know what? For the 3 games before their previous one, I can forgive them, because Liverpool, Leicester, and Man City is an absolutely horrendous run to have. You know, so I think they'll just take the points that they can get. But against Sheffield United, a team who hasn't won in the Premier League so far this season, they really should have done better. You know, it wasn't necessarily the team's fault. We go back to that Fraser incident where it's just 2 moments of, it wasn't even madness, it was just silliness, you know, and just not having that kind of the presence of mind just to like be always on the booking and to, you know, take his foot off the pedal a little bit. So it's difficult for them, because Aston Villa is a really, really tough game, and that Sheffield United game should have been the one where they can get that win and get that good result, and then maybe against Villa again it'd be another tough game for them. So I worry for them a little bit against Aston Villa. I think this is going to be a really, really tough day at the office for them.
Score prediction then.
I'm going for 3-1 Villa.
That's my prediction too. I think Aston Villa.
Why are you copying me? Why are you so unoriginal? Enter Gary shit here.
Fine, 4-1 Aston Villa. Aston Villa are going to go 4-0 up, and then they're going to be like, oh yeah, the game's done, and then Newcastle are going to score 1.
And now the majority of Newcastle hate you. Thank you very much for watching this, what is a monstrous game week 19. And as a final reminder, if you have any suggestions for what you would want to see in a second video, do drop your suggestions down in the comments.
No OnlyFans. Okay. See you next week.
See ya.